still hard to hear. I find if I go through my television and I can turn my television up as high as it'll go, I can mostly hear it.
So that's what we've been
So,
doing.
I mean, are we turned up as high as we can on this end?
No, because you can only go up so far before they start to yell at each other. These microphones and.
Have we figured out where that
microphone.
point is?
No, I turned
Okay.
it up a little bit before the meeting.
Okay.
So,
Well, otherwise, we make a big jump, we'll make it scream, and then we can turn it down.
See, that's what, last night, we had it on the TV on 99,
I had it on 100.
and, you could hear it, but it would kind of fade a little bit and come right back.
Well, it's when you're talking like this, and then you go down like this, it's when they duck their head down, that's when we notice that. If
Did
somebody's looking down, if
Chip
you're
do
looking
that?
down, looking at this,
It was when Chip was speaking.
yeah, I know, and I think he was fine, and then I think he looked down at what was in front of him, cause where is he picked up from?
there's a grid with a green light in the ceiling right behind the projector.
So it's behind the projector?
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
why the podium has been moved back so far.
Okay, and then are we going through these mics?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay,
Problem is when you change your TV to turn on the news,
yeah,
blow out your speaker.
Yeah, I
Well,
know,
and
but
I
it-
shut it off last night, forgot to turn the sound down. He turned it on, or I put it on Hulu, and then when he went to, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn it down.
so, yeah, so whether I'm going through my phone or the computer, I have to use the TV.
Okay, fine.
Well, I was heartbroken.
Did you get pulled in yet?
Somebody pulled in.
It's got somebody pulled over down there by the ball.
That's Forrest.
Okay.
There's Brian.
No Charles.
No Charles. Wonder if he ended up having to work late.
Okay. Yep.
Call the Stuart Municipal Utilities Council Chambers tentative agenda, Tuesday, April 14, 2026, 5:30 PM. Okay, roll call. Harry. Neal.
Here.
Belden.
Here.
Sherman.
Here.
Amy. Agenda approval. Anyone have a motion?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
How do you vote? Neal.
Yes.
Belden.
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Amy, yes. Consent agenda, minutes of regular meeting, 3/12/2026, financial statement as of 3/31/2026, and bills as presented. Have a motion.
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, how you vote? Neal?
Yes.
Belden?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Amy. And I forgot to put in, I wanna put number 11 up for, after public forum. Can I go ahead and do that? Yeah,
Sure.
okay.
The only thing I'd ask about on the third page of or second page of the financials, that shared services allocation account, can that be integrated into is that part of the electric budget, or how is that just in both?
It's not transferred yet.
Okay,
It'll be transferred after the close of the fiscal year when we know exactly what 80% of that is. So
Okay.
technically, it is not included in the utility financials at this point.
okay, so it has to be in there, set a trend for the first year, and then thereafter you include it?
No, I will include it after the actual transfer is actually made. So at the end of the fiscal year, we'll know what that number is, we'll make the transfer. At that point, it will be
Okay,
integrated.
so it's
in-
kind of an arrears type thing?
Right,
Okay, gotcha,
Right.
all right.
So that's gonna be a once-a-year thing.
correct.
Okay.
Is there a reason why it's not in a month? How often is that collected?
With every single deposit.
Okay,
So, every time somebody pays a bill and we take it to the bank, and that payment is divided up between all of the different services,
gotcha,
it's,
okay.
yeah, almost daily.
Okay. Public forum. Ready? 6, electric rate increase, board member Sherman.
I guess I'm gonna be quick here. I just think that, or if we're moving ahead with this project, I think that we ought to have, Chip has given us like an average of what it is, worst case scenario versus if the city helps us with TIF. And I think that next time we have him here, we should have a proposal for an increase. And if we haven't got the city's blessing, if we're not going with the TIF version, we should go ahead and approve the higher number, and get going. And, if they help us out along the way, we can do something different if it works out that we can use TIF money. If not, we're prepared. We got this low interest loan, we kinda need to move ahead, don't we?
We got till December to close on it.
Right,
That's-
but are we, as far as I know, it looks like we're in agreement, we need to do this. I'm frustrated that we're sitting here waiting, that it
No,
seems like
Yeah, and I think.
it's time to move ahead.
I'm just, I guess I thought we were waiting for the utilities, or the city to decide on that. And then after, based on their decision, then he would take that into account and then give us rate options thereafter
I
as
know.
needed.
Do we need to wait? Like I said, we know worst case scenario. And if we do more than, they help us out, we do more than what we would have had to, it'll make the rates lower, increase will be lower down the road. It just seems like we're at the edge of the cliff, it's just time to jump and commit.
I guess the way you left it, it felt like we had plenty of time to close on that low interest loan, so.
Well, are we gonna start, we've got stuff here that looks like that we can start approving on, and are we gonna wait on that too?
Well,
I'm like, what do we
I'm not
wait?
comfortable approving $600,000 without him financially modeling every nook and cranny of rate increases, TIF
Right.
concepts, financial scenarios, and considering this, shared services allocation as part of the budget. That, to me, that should come from him as a financial advisor,
I agree,
so.
I agree, but,
And his last scenario did not include that.
Correct.
So, so I don't know what low, medium, high would be without that information.
well, I know he gave us, and he could give us that, but he gave us a worst case scenario on average over, was it 6 years? Of 3.77% without TIF. And I believe it was 2.66 over those years with TIF, if I remember correctly. So he's got something, he's started on it. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
no, I'm with you. He's got some
let's-
scenarios started.
right, that's why I'm like, if we agree that we have to do this, why don't we just commit and do it?
And if it's not this project, it's gonna be another one. I mean,
Exactly,
Just start building in at least low, if not low to moderate type, into our projection of.
correct.
But I
rate
think we already
increases.
talked about that at the last meeting and asked him to devise that. We ended up having to wait on our joint meeting until May
Right.
to share
No,
that information. So
I don't
agree,
think we
there's
need to
some-
make, I don't think we
there's,
need to wait.
and
I think if
I
we
think
show
we
some goodwill by doing something on our end, I think that might move the city to help us out on the other end a little bit. When we sit here and tell them we don't wanna raise rates, it's kinda hard to talk them into helping us out with TIF. That's kinda just the look on their faces when you said I don't wanna raise rates. I just don't think they're gonna be with us if we're not willing to do that.
but I think we forget that we just raised rates 4% last year.
I understand that, but we don't have a choice.
No, I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. I do. I just
Okay.
want that to come from him. That's all.
Right.
I don't think we
And
have
he,
those.
when
numbers
he's
yet.
the one that I think he could give us a number to start with. We can always adjust later. But I assume his numbers were halfway decent, the 3.77%.
I don't even remember what they
Yeah.
were. It's been so long.
It's a starting point. And I
Let's
think,
go up 1% and
well,
need to go up later, we can.
we know we gotta do
That's
more.
something.
I would agree to have him give us the number
Yeah,
and then vote on it. And we
I don't
could,
know how it would make
we
sense for us
could-
to put rate increases in place randomly without our financial advisor showing us.
I just think we need to make a decision and start moving.
You're
I'm-
talking about a decision on the overall concept of the substation. Is that what you're?
Well, correct, and if we're going with it, we've got this low interest loan. As far as I know, I can't see anybody that says we're not gonna do it on the board. Let's commit.
All agree.
I don't think there's is it anybody, my issue is how it's paid for, that it's the least expensive cost to our citizens, period. And I don't think we've seen those scenarios, yet. And the city council obviously has a chance to save about a third of that cost if we're able to use TIF, and so that's gonna play into what the rate increase would be, or not be. So I'm just thinking he needs to show us that first.
Right. I would say commit to the worst-case scenario is what I would say, and it can get better. But let's commit to something. I'm frustrated, this is my third year here, we've been talking about this, and seems like we're to the point where we should commit to something. And that's all I've got on it, but I'd like to see Chip come up with something for the next meeting, a starting point.
You know, one of the most surprising things to me was, it was great that this board is able to keep rates low for years and years, but at a 0%, it just seems like it creates a bubble or a lack of building revenue so that we can not have, I guess, projects like this that are like, we have to go really creative or we have to figure out how the heck we're gonna fund it and stuff. So, we should have a policy in place of like, we're gonna tie it some sort of way to a percentage of CPI at least. Like, we have to grow revenue. Every other price out there that people can think of is increasing. I don't know how we keep ours at 0.
Well, some utilities,
I
some
think Ashley
utilities,
and the utilities did a good job of suppressing costs and managing things, and also the town was growing substantially with new utility customers. So it's outgrowing that. And now I think you've hit an inflection point where I think that there's, what's it been, 10 years? But again, we just raised rates last year 4%. So understanding, yes, there probably will have to be some sort of increase in some sort of rate class. I don't know what that number is. It would need to come from him.
But I don't want a 1-year plan at a time. I want a 5 to 10 year plan.
that's where I'm at.
Where we're building towards.
Right. So some
Building
utilities.
towards what, though?
Well, some utilities, rather than try to just keep costs at as low as possible, not ever raise rates, would look at, if it costs us $100 to provide our service, we're going to plan to bring in 103 to 105 to help fund those projects down the road, depending on what's on the future plan, which we should have, 5, 10, 20-year plan out there. We should be able to see those projects and plan for it, and not just try to meet our costs and not ever increase rates, but increase rates at a small rate. If we had increased our rates on this over the years, it would have taken a little over a 1% increase, I think he said, and we would have this paid for, rather than now we're 3.7 over 6 years. That's almost a 20% increase over 6 years.
If this project would have been done in 2017, it would have probably cost half as much. It would have been paid for at a 2% interest rate, or 3 for the whole
Right.
thing, would have been paid off by now.
Right, so.
Yeah, so I'm with you. Hindsight's
Okay.
20/20. I don't know what to me, I'd just rather have him go through the scenarios. Neil, to me, all of this is financial planning, no different than what we did on the other side of the house.
Yeah.
And we would wanna do this regardless. That's just me.
Yeah.
It's not a 1-year plan. He's got an electric fund budget model and a water fund budget model.
Yep.
And that's what it should go through. But to me, decide
I
what you
agree
could-
with both of you. You're both making good points on this. I just think a 0% trying to outgrow our revenues or something, or outgrow our expenses over time. People expect that there's at least gonna be small amounts, and we need to analyze what our reserves are. How do we know that our
That's all
reserve
part of
number
it.
is
I
the
totally
correct
agree.
number?
Right.
Yeah.
Especially with, the number of capital projects that might be coming our way over the next however many years. Like, we need Chip to help us look at that long-term planning, so.
Yep, that's why I think we need to just commit, though.
And I'm not understanding, I think everybody is committed to that, it's just the different steps to get there. To me, it's, if the city council says no, then that's gonna change Chip's recommendations on what
Mhm.
we have to do. If they say yes, then that's gonna mitigate some of that, so then the scenarios will be different. So that's the different steps I saw. I guess I thought where we were
How
at.
about if we have another meeting with city council?
I thought they had that in May, the first, some other time in May, I thought it was scheduled. Sarah, didn't you send
No,
it?
we didn't.
It's not scheduled, but
Oh.
we wanted to move
Okay.
it to May.
Yeah, but have it before then we can have Chip talking to all of us. They can decide, the city council can decide what they wanna do. He can tell us about this, and we can discuss it then and go there. Would that work? That way give Chip a little bit of time to get stuff to get to us, and we're not waiting
think we need to move.
So,
And just so you understand, like, there's a process we have to follow with raising rates, so.
No, I understand.
You'll
So what-
decide to raise them, and then we'll start the process, and
Right.
it will probably take 2 months.
That's why I'm like, when
Yeah.
we're-
Right.
that's why I'm here, where I'm at. I know, I realize there's a process. And it's
So-
like, so if we, if we delay this decision 2 months, we're delaying that 2 months down the road.
so will that work?
Yeah, I just-
Everybody?
I just think it's time we talk about it.
So I don't know what about next week. I won't be back till Tuesday.
Well, are you talking the next regular meeting, Sarah?
No, we're talking a special.
Special meeting?
Well, I was talking about May because Chip is working on some other things for the city right now, so I don't know
Okay,
if he would be prepared. I can ask him.
okay.
See what would work for
See what
him.
days he's available and can get this work done. But we really can't make a decision on this stuff until the council's had a chance to absorb the scenarios that he's going to share with them, and then
Well,
that's a
he's
cause
already
effect.
shared some with them.
Yeah, but not the updated ones, the questions they'd had, and it's the first time they had looked at it, and, I mean, so it's,
Cause that's why we were having that joint
yeah,
again.
yeah, it was a follow-up, yep.
Yeah. And hopefully get that done in that meeting at that night too. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I just think let's
So-
move.
Whatever Chip could come up with, if we can do it next week, I won't be back till Tuesday, so is anyone else Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week, okay?
Yeah, I just don't know that he'll have the, I mean, you mean for a joint meeting?
Yes,
Oh,
to
okay,
get this
sure.
all taken care of.
Yeah, if that provides them enough time to,
If Chip is available.
If
Yeah.
Chip's available,
yeah,
otherwise there's the following week still April.
Well, it'd be about 4 weeks till the next meeting. May 11th is the next regular council.
So if we can't do it next week, check the following week.
I will
that's
start
probably
with
more
Chip,
realistic, yeah.
move on to
Right.
Corey,
Right.
reach out to everyone.
So, just to cover Dan's concern here, is there any other hesitation or reason to deny or not move forward with this substation? I mean, does anybody have as a board member? So, I mean, that's your.
I see it as a necessity.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I
that's
think
what-
we have to
I'm
do
just
it.
trying to get everybody's opinion on that, so. It's just a matter of what you pay for is all. I think the ballpark numbers on that difference was, I wanna say, what, $1 million on the interest, on that low interest loan saved us $1 million, and then using TIF saved another $1.5 million. So you're talking about this isn't something that's small, as far as the savings. Anyway,
Anything else?
That's all I had there.
Are you okay with that, Dan?
Yes, I just wanted to get the conversation. I think we need to
Okay,
do something.
okay. Tri-Center Association Congregate Meals Annual Contribution Request. That is with me. I'm kinda backing them 100%. A lot of the elderly go there. The state gives them money and they keep cutting their budget. Last year, they got roughly $26,000 from the state. That was to buy the food, pay the manager, pay the cook, and that money doesn't even cover the manager or the cook. Last year we gave them 1,000. This year I'm asking for 2,000 or more if you would be willing to give more. Because a lot of times, this is the only time these people have any socialization. And a lot of times, this is the only meal they eat that day.
so what is our budgeted amount?
It's roughly,
Or-
well,
So we
them.
typically will give $1,000 a year. Looking back over the last several years' contributions, we did skip 2024.
We skipped it?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Just never came up?
Probably
or-
nobody asked.
Okay, so you're asking for 2,000, did the city look at this as well?
that'll be on their meeting tomorrow
Oh,
night.
okay. So,
And I
If
don't
we-
care what the city does.
no, I'm with you, so
You
why
know.
wouldn't we do 3,000 to say that we didn't do the 1,000 from 24, give them that, and then increase our budget to 2 annually? Is that something that people are agreeable with? Or is that not?
Is that a motion?
No, it's a discussion point. This
I
is,
mean,
I agree, Kim, I agree with you. I think this is a huge thing that serves our community. Our elderly is like the rec center. I totally agree with you.
I mean, cause like I deliver meals for them once in a while when they need my help. And some of these people that are home, this is the only people they see, you know, during the day.
So
It's
the other,
been going for over 30 years and they're looking at having to close if they don't get help. I will tell you, I have been filling out grants for them, but a lot of the grants now are, the money's taken, or they don't have the money for, the people doing the grants don't have the money anymore. Their amounts are getting lower and lower, so they can't help out like they've been doing. I have been to Menlo, asked their city council. I have asked Rose Acres. I'm waiting on to hear something from them. I have asked Quick Star. I will hear something from them in about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It's getting to the place that Tasha and I, she's the cook, we're gonna start walking up and down the streets to the businesses. But the only bad thing about hitting the businesses, they get hit with everything, every year. And some of them can't handle it. I mean, you know, money-wise.
yeah.
So and we've been talking about doing a fundraiser. So, I don't know.
So I'd make a motion to follow Kim's recommendation of 2,000 and then also supplement that with a one-time $1,000 contribution from 2024, the retroactive amount. So that'd be 3 total. That can be looked at next year.
There's also some town people or kinda out of town people that's helped. So,
I'd second it.
so how you vote? Neil?
Yes.
Belden?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Amy, yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for asking and bringing it up and donating your time for the
Thanks, Dan, for what you do.
participating.
I think they need asparagus.
If they don't, Kim does.
I got 3 pounds for them.
I bet they would.
I figured they would too.
Yeah, I bet they would. Okay, water supply and treatment study results. Forrest?
So this isn't really anything new. We kind of went through all of this at the last board meeting. But at the board meeting, we wanted to kind of finish up the report, and just for everybody's refresher and for those that are watching, we, in order to have adequate water supply going on our own, we needed to have the reactivate the Jordan well. We needed to have the wells over by Redfield operating, and then we needed a new water plant. Add all that capital cost together, compare, and then spread that over over like 20 years. And really, for it to make sense, Xenia's water rates had to go up by more than 5%. If it was less than 5%, it made sense, it made sense, greater than 5% on Xenia rates, it made sense to go out on our own. If it's less than 5% Xenia rate increases, it made sense to stay with Xenia. The rate increase we had last year was less than 5%. And there, I think, Board Member Crawford made a good point, you know, going out on our own, there's some risk with that. We have one big customer. If that big customer quits buying water, there's some risk with that. Then we're also doing, you know, having to do staffing and personnel, and so there's some risk with that. So the decision was at this point, until such time Xenia's rates start increasing quite a bit, and that may happen. There's a lot of talk about the nitrates and what impact that is going to have on the rates with Des Moines Waterworks, is where Xenia gets their water, which is where Stuart gets their water. So that we'll see. And so the thought was, we did finish up the report. I think it was in everybody's packets. I did bring 3 paper copies as requested, Sarah. So here are those. And I just wrapping the bow around that, and it's ready to go and pull off the shelf if Xenia decides to increase rates, or the board decides that we wanna take a look at that again. I will make a comment, while I've got the floor, is that I did quite a bit of looking at your existing water plant with Ben. He was quite the tour guide. And right now, you know, we do, when you flush hydrants, when you need an emergency backup, you do turn on those wells over by Redfield, and you do turn on the water plant. That water plant's in dire straits of having some money put into it if it's going to keep being a backup source. So,
I took a tour today and I agree.
so just kind of keep that in mind as you're looking at your budget, that there's some TLC that needs to have over there. Or make the decision to close it down and you know, now you're relying 100% on Xenia for everything. But, so there's some benefit to have it, but it needs a little bit of money.
Are you talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands?
Tens of thousands.
I asked,
Yeah, we've discussed this quite a bit. I don't wanna step on your time, but since you're here, it's great to have you here. We talked about this, we're gonna talk about this more next month. Tens of thousands would get us basically to where we can get through this year and next year. But, I mean, really, it could likely turn into much more than that very quickly. Cause our filter, we don't know how much longer that's gonna hold up. It could be 1 year, it could be 8 years, could be 10 years. I doubt it. But the time is coming where we really are at a crossroads where we have to decide if we don't put some considerable money into this plant, which is hard to do if you're not gonna use it full time, but I don't wanna minimize it and lead you to believe that it's just like we throw $15,000 at this and we get by for another 5 years. I think it is gonna be a more substantial investment than that considerably.
Could we get this is exactly what we're talking about, planning for things. Could we get some kind of a plan and a timeline? Cause that's something where we should adjust our rates accordingly.
well, Ben and I was talking today, cause he took me over and I looked at it. And I said, could we do it do so much now, and then 3 or 4 years do another set, and then 3 or 4 years do another set? You know, can we split it up?
Yeah, well, that would be for them to tell us. Same thing, at one time you talked about, is there work that needs to be done on the wells also?
Maintenance.
Maintenance.
We really should do some maintenance. We haven't done any maintenance on them in a few years.
That's something we're having planned 5 or 10 years to plan for these projects. That's where I'm talking about is, I hate making big increases to do a project. I would rather take care of it as we go a little more.
So, Ben, if you can, come up with that, I'm more than happy to help if you need help, or, just let me know what you
Just
need
come up
for
with a
that.
plan,
Yeah, if we do anything more than just small maintenance issues, then we probably will have to involve Forest, cause it's just gonna be, the scope gets too big, but
Right.
without a doubt, it's more just judging, we'll go over it a little more next month, and we'll kinda judge what is the interest in making an investment in our water plant. If there's interest, then yeah, we need to take it to the next step. If it comes down to, I don't think this is the case, we don't wanna raise rates and we are not putting any money into that old plant, then there's just no need to go any further. So
Right.
it's just kinda judging the temperature
Yeah.
of where you guys wanna
But if
go.
the money for that becomes a certain level, it affects whether or not we might rethink some of this stuff about a new plant,
Correct.
cause we wouldn't have to do that,
Exactly.
So, yeah, not knowing what's gonna happen with Xenia in the next 4 or 5 years makes it real hard to invest a lot of money into this plant. But if you don't invest some money in this plant, we will just have to shutter it. To be honest with you, wasn't really planning on turning it on this summer at all, cause we had so many operational problems last year. But we can discuss that. We'll talk a little more next month. We don't have to get too mired down tonight.
Right.
So if you've not toured the plant, I'd encourage you to go over it with Ben and take a look at it. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for the next agenda item.
Oh, the certified side, I forgot you were dealing with that too. Okay.
Well, that's what I wasn't sitting there.
Forrest.
Sit down, stand up.
Certified site.
So, certified site, board member Belden was talking to the property owner. The property owner verbally was all on board with this, and this was the site, east of Division, north of the interstate, and very good site, good access to the interstate. And so we were moving forward, and the board actually said, yeah, everything looks good, move forward. We had Sarah put together a proposal for a grant application. We had that submitted. And then we had a meeting with the property owner, and they were asking a lot of questions, and all of a sudden they were kind of getting cold feet about the whole thing. And so we said, okay, well, let's, we'll get some answers to your questions. And we set up another meeting. And in the meantime, they called board member Belden and said, nope, we're not interested. Doesn't matter what the answers are. Doesn't matter how much money we could make. We're just not interested in it at all. And so at that point, we said, well, we're going to stop everything. I did put this memo together that's in your packets. The purpose of that was just to document, here's where we're at, here's what's been finished. If for some reason they would change their mind or there's a different site that is found, then we kind of have this memo to go by to kind of pick things up again. So, so our fees, there was a phase 1 that we did. That's all that we're billing for. This is where we got. That phase 2 that you approved at the March meeting, there won't be any charges for any of that. So that we just stopped and you won't get a bill for that. So that's kind of where we're at, is pretty disappointed in that outcome, because we had everybody ready to go, but so anyway, that's the update on that. Any questions about that?
Do we know what they're causing to change their minds? Is it specific use, or do we know?
They were not interested in selling. They
Okay.
want to keep it as farm ground.
Okay.
I don't know, Brian was throwing out some pretty big numbers, would have gotten my interest, but, so, yeah, they must have talked about it internally and, yeah, just came to that conclusion. So,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, number 10, electric substation project. Just put that, table that until our special meeting.
Okay.
Okay, amendment of budget FY 2026.
Okay, so it's that time of year when we need to amend the budget, and so we're going to increase the water budget by $485,000. That's basically for the water tower elevation adjustment project.
Okay.
So we had received the money in a previous fiscal year, we're spending it this year, so that's what that is. And then the electric budget, we're going to amend by $376,000. That is mostly that boring machine that we discussed, as well as the electric engineering fees that have been associated with the substation project. We have to pay those guys for the work that they do, so that is where we are at with that, so I just need a motion to approve the amendment.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, one second. Okay, how do you vote? Neil?
Yes.
Eldon? Sherman?
Yes.
Amy? Yes. Okay, city administrator reports.
Okay. So the first page is where we are at as of the end of March 2026. You have $7.484 million in the bank, which is excellent. You have strong reserves. The next page is the year-to-date summary. So from the beginning of the fiscal year in July until the end of the month of March, you have a positive number of $134,000. If you have a good memory and you remember what the number before the amendment was $3.47 million. As of right now, you've spent $2.91 million, so you have about $500,000 remaining. With that budget amendment, that will bring you up to $1.4 million remaining. Page 4 is the summary of the month to date. So over the course of the month of March, you actually have a negative number of $199,000, but again, that is because of the large payment for the water tower elevation project. So on to the utility billing accounts. For the delinquent account report, we only have one change. It is on the first page towards the top. Flipping through to the second report, which is the delinquent accounts paid in full, there are no changes. And flip through to the payment agreement report. We have added 4 payment agreements since last month. The next report is the paid in full payment agreements. We have 5 of them. 3 of them are showing on the first page. 2 of them are showing on the second page. And that takes us to the budget billing report. There are no changes. And that also takes us to the state offset program. No changes on that report.
I like the way you summarize that. We go through this rather than go through all pages.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm sure they're just waiting to make sure we're in a good